You probably use his legacy every day. Every time you follow an algorithm, solve an algebraic problem, or work with the number system we use today, you are touching ideas connected to a scholar who lived more than 1,000 years ago. His name was Muhammad ibn Musa Al-Khwarizmi. Living in 9th century Baghdad, he studied mathematics, astronomy, geography, and other fields of knowledge. His writings helped systematize algebra and spread the use of Indian numerical methods throughout the Islamic world, and eventually into Europe. His name would eventually become the word algorithm. And one of his books would give us the word algebra. This is the story of the scholar whose name became part of the language of modern mathematics. Al-Khwarizmi was born around 780, though the exact details of his early life remain uncertain. His name suggests a connection to Khwarizm, a region of Central Asia. By the 9th century, he was working in Baghdad, one of the great intellectual centers of the medieval world. Scholars gathered there to study mathematics, astronomy, geography, medicine, and philosophy. Among them was a scholar whose ideas would eventually influence the entire world. Al-Khwarizmi worked during the reign of the Abbasid Caliph Al-Mamun, when Baghdad was a major center of scholarship. The intellectual world around him brought together knowledge from different cultures. Greek, Persian, and Indian works were studied and translated into Arabic, allowing scholars to build upon ideas that had traveled across centuries and continents. Al-Khwarizmi became part of this remarkable scholarly environment. He wasn't simply preserving old knowledge, he was transforming it. Around 820, Al-Khwarizmi wrote the work that would make his name famous, a treatise on solving equations. Its Arabic title included al-jabr, referring to a process of restoring or completing an equation. That word would eventually become algebra. Earlier civilizations had already solved equations, but Al-Khwarizmi's contribution was to organize these methods into a systematic approach that could be taught and applied to different problems. He helped turn individual mathematical techniques into a recognizable discipline. Al-Khwarizmi also wrote about the Indian system of numerals and place value arithmetic. Unlike many older systems, these numbers could be manipulated efficiently because their value depended on their position. His original work has been lost, but later Latin translations helped spread these ideas into Europe. Over time, the system became the familiar 0, 1, 2, 3, used across much of the world today. A mathematical system from India had found an important messenger in Baghdad. There is another reason Al-Khwarizmi's name survives. Medieval Latin scholars encountered his name in translations of his mathematical works. His name was rendered in forms such as algorithmi. Over time, that name became associated with systematic methods of calculation. Eventually, it evolved into the word we know today, algorithm. Every time a computer follows a set of instructions to solve a problem, organize information, or make a decision, we use a concept whose name traces back to this 9th century scholar. Al-Khwarizmi's interests extended far beyond algebra. He worked on astronomy and produced astronomical tables, drawing on earlier traditions while contributing calculations of his own. He also wrote about geography. including a work that helped improve knowledge of the locations of cities and regions across the known world. His surviving and lost works show the breadth of scholarship taking place in Baghdad. For Al-Khwarizmi, mathematics wasn't isolated from the world. It was a tool for understanding it. Al-Khwarizmi's influence continued long after his death. Centuries later, his works were translated into Latin and studied by European scholars. His approach to algebra and his work with Indian numerals helped shape the development of mathematics in Europe. His ideas had traveled far beyond Baghdad. Very little is known about Al-Khwarizmi as a person. We don't know what he looked like, and details about his childhood and personal life have largely disappeared. Even his exact origins remain uncertain. What survives instead is his work. His writings reveal a scholar who believed complicated problems could be approached logically, systematically, and in ways that could be taught to others. His ideas would outlive almost everything else about him. Al-Khwarizmi died around 850. More than 1,000 years later, his name remains part of everyday language, algebra, algorithm. His ideas travel from 9th century Baghdad across the Islamic world and eventually into Europe, helping shape the mathematics we use today. He didn't invent mathematics, he helped give it a new language, and every time we solve an equation or ask a computer to follow an algorithm, a small part of Al-Khwarizmi's legacy lives on. Some stories fade, others wait to be heard.